What's up? What's up? How's everybody doing? This will be, I think, my second live stream. It's going to be short. I'm not going to do anything too crazy. Wanted to go over some Fintel data today, some news that we've seen, perhaps some good stuff coming for us apes, that's for sure. I'm quite pleased with where we stand right now, considering all of the attacks we've kind of been experiencing. I mean, we started at the beginning of the week expecting to kind of get hit throughout the week pretty hard, and we did. Well, I shouldn't say we got hit hard, but they definitely gave it their best shot, and I think the most that we've seen was a negative 3% on the day, which is pretty damn nice. I figure I'd start this up, and I'm gonna go over some Fintel data, some of the news that came out today, and hopefully some of you guys will find this useful. I'm gonna start with some of the institutional buyers, which we didn't have that many today. It's right here, basically. These top three. We're looking at Glassman Wealth. They pick. Oops, what did I just do? Let me switch the dates back up. I just screwed myself. The biggest purchase today was Glassman Wealth Services. It looks like they added about 2,000 shares of the position, which is pretty nice. And everybody else small. I mean, every little bit counts though, so it's not like that it's small, but compared to some of the other investors that we've seen or institutional buyers come in the past couple of days, it is relatively small. Let's take a look at some of the short interest here. We're sitting at an 82 out of 100 short squeeze score, which is nice. We've been seeing that kind of go up daily. It stooped down to the 78 area and it was hanging there for a couple days, and it looks like we're kind of back on track, which is good to know. I don't hold a lot of weight on this score, but when it does go up, it does kind of get me excited a little bit, at least. Just because it's an indicator of, again, I've said this multiple times, there's sentiment. It shows that we're in the right direction. They use a lot of different data points to put this score together. So I take it with a grain of salt. As of 1 hour ago, it looks like we have 250,000 shares available. And we've today at one point had 2.6 million. So that's around 2.2 million shares that they borrowed today. It looks like they're really trying to go through their last reserves. We are looking good there. Short borrow fee rate is bouncing in the 11s today, 11%. This number, though, again, it could bounce up and down like crazy. It's not really something that is set in stone. If it goes down to, let's say, 9%, it's literally depending on how many shares are borrowed and what the price action looks like. I mean, you could see it bounce from 11% all the 20%, all the way to 20% relatively quickly. So that is all good stuff there. I'm looking to see. So I brought this up in pretty much every video that I've done so far, but just remember this short interest is updated twice by the New York Stock Exchange. Their first monthly update on April 15th, the short interest was 93 million, which was 32% of the float. And that is looking good and juicy for us. And I expect that number to be a lot bigger. Let me see something here, actually. Pull out my phone, make sure that the live stream is working correctly here. Because it looks like it's frozen on my end. Hang on one second, guys. Bear with me. All right. Yeah, so moving forward, that's the short interest. That's what we're looking for. I don't want to get into too much about what the puts and look like, because there's just a bunch of bullshit going on, really, for lack of a better term. So I do want to point something out, though. This is kind of important. Let's see here. Where did he post this? 21 hours ago. He responded to it in a... Let me see if I could find it in the tweets and replies. If not, I'll just pull it up on the Discord here. He said millions, yes, but there was actually... I'm going to see if I could find the post. What I'll do is actually... Because this is a good segue into some of the other information. This Discord that I'm part of right here, you guys need to really If you're not involved or join this Discord, I'll put the link below. This is where I get a lot of information, and it's good stuff. I mean, there's a lot of smart people in here. You kind of do have to be able to decipher through some stuff because a lot of it is repeated information, but at the end of the day, it's very, very solid stuff here. So right here, let me see if I can zoom this up for you guys. So Adam did respond to this person, Shua, here, and he said, yes, indeed, that is right. AMC now has over 3 million individual shareholders. So if we're assuming that, let's just say the average shareholder has 150 shares, think about that number in terms of what that looks like, as opposed to what that number looks like. It's, you know, I think they did the math, it was like 400 million or some shit like that, right? So if you have that many shares out just in the votes that they got, think about all the people in other countries that didn't get to vote. They didn't get to vote. They didn't have the ability to it. Their broker didn't give them the ability to do it. So in my mind, this is something that when he's saying that there's 3 million individual shareholders, that's a small percentage of the number. And I think it has a lot to do with why they push back the annual shareholder meeting too. They want to give more time for people to vote. And I touched on this in my last video. You'll be able to, they're going to be able through these numbers, especially if what they have right now is already 3 million, right? Individual shareholders, considering the average amount, nobody just owns one share, right? For the most part, we're assuming that the average might be 150, and that could be on the low end. But let's just say that out of all those shares that we have, those 3 million people, they account for 150 shares a piece. That's 350 million shares just on those people. So they didn't account for all these other votes that couldn't do it. So adding more time allows for more votes to come in. The more votes that come in, the more the voting we are. Like, there's more overvoting being done. And what that means is that they'll be able to quickly and they'll be able to identify as clear as day that or what the synthetic share actually looks like, what that count actually looks like, which is a big deal, right? So you want to be looking for that, coming up, I guess what I'm trying to say is on June 2nd, make sure that you guys are getting your votes in. They push that voting back, and you'll be able to, or the actual shareholder meeting back, but they're opening the voting as early as June 2nd. So if you haven't voted, I can't stress enough how important that is, because again, it's going to help them identify how many synthetic shares there really are. You know, the CEO right here is saying there's 3 million individual shareholders, and you got to assume the average is at least more than 100 shares, right? So you're looking at 300 million shares just in this number that he's talking here, and that doesn't account for how many people were actually not voted, couldn't get their votes in. So it's big stuff. I mean, you're really gonna have to make sure, I can't stress this enough, I've been trying to spread this video around, the first video that I did on this, because you have to get your votes in. It's gonna really ensure what we're trying to get done. And just going through some of this other daily data, we can look at some of this Ortex here. This was earlier though. We'll see if, I'm sure there's an actual newer one. We'll go ahead and find the more updated one. This is what we're looking at as far as status goes on the DTCC rulings. Now, I know that a lot of people are really excited about this 801, and it did get approved, but this 801 is dependent on this, 002 to get pushed. This is something I actually brought up a long time ago in the AMC official only Discord, because everybody's celebrating, and I actually went through and dove, it took me a lot of reading, and especially I was having to Google every other damn sentence because I didn't know. There's a lot of legal shit in there that I didn't understand, but I did find out that this is contingent on what he's saying, number 5, which is the 801 ruling, is contingent on the 002 passing. Now, there's a lot of talks at saying, hey, Friday or May 7th, that they think it could be into effect, and that's just pure speculation at this point. There's no real indicator that it will get passed. I know it's going to be up for review, but any sort of comments that come through or objections, it can completely extend the time that we're looking at getting this approved. So that's something to be looking out for. This 801 is great news, and it's going to do a lot for us, but it is contingent on this 002 ruling. So make sure you guys are aware and understand what that means for us. Oh yeah, this is pretty interesting actually. So AMC's landlord, which is EPR Properties, they're reporting their earnings today. Actually, you might be able to even see it as of now. We'll take a look. And it's just, if they show reported increase in earnings, that could be a good sign for what we're looking at when our earnings is revealed as well. Let's see here. I don't know if I want to listen to the conference call. We'll see. We'll wait till this is done and we'll come back and circle back to this later. But this is for the landlord of AMC. So their earnings call could be an indicator of what we're looking at. If I'm hoping that they have good news, right? And that they're making money, because the more money that they make, the less stress they have to put on AMC right now. So I'm hoping that that is looking good and we share that same outlook. Go ahead, the Discord in the way right here, but I'll go ahead and link this in the comment description of this video, or actually just link it right now. Let's see here. Okay, so I actually got to open this in my browser. Hang on one second, we'll do this. And so I can just link this in the Discord here. All right, here we go. So you guys can track that if you want to. Now let's see what else we got going here. We'll get back to if there's any other news that I think will be relevant. Matcore's tweet results based on the mean of owned shares. So owned shares, 17% of the people he thinks own 50 shares or less. 18% of the people own between 117 or less. 33% he thinks own 625, which this is the amount of people. So 889,000 people, 30% own 1,250 more, 1.6 million. And this is just based off of the numbers that he can calculate as of now, which is all based off public data. I mean, all this again is just leading to the fact that we have so many fake bullshit shares running around. I can't help but, I mean, think that it's double than what we're thinking. And I think that's why Adam Aaron made such a fucking silverback move, because I think he's seen what we're seeing, and he's kind of giving us the rope to kind of hang these guys, which I again is, when have you seen a CEO really get behind such a movement like what we're seeing now? I mean, it's pretty incredible. Now, let's see here. Let's see, this is a little bit more updated on the Ortex data here. Current short interest compared to the free float is 23%. They borrowed 2.4 million shares today, which is an increase from 1.67 million the day before, which is pretty incredible, guys. Let's see here. I'm going to close the Discord now so we can look at this tweet here. Gensler says he's asked staff to closely review concentration of retail order execution among small number of venues. So who do you think the small number of venues are? I'm sure one of them is Robinhood. And I'm sure one of them is Citadel. I'm sure it's on both parties. It's just good. So I've touched on this before as well. Gensler is known for being a hard ass when it comes to regulations, and I'm sure that the hedge funds do not like this guy. So the fact that he's kind of blowing the lid open on a lot of these dudes is again showing that we're on the right track. Circling back, I know a lot of you guys like to look at the price action that's going on in the days, but I'm telling you guys that right now the price action is just all psychological. It's irrelevant. We are in a golden spot, and I expect that when everything is said and done, it'll be because of, number one, government intervention. So the SEC gets involved. You're gonna have the DTCC getting involved, all these rulings, and I expect it to trickle down throughout the whole market, which brings me to another area of importance, is what you guys are planning to do after the squeeze. Don't just be one of those lottery winners that, ends up losing all their money. Have a game plan, whether it's, real estate, crypto, reinvesting in the stock market, taking the knowledge if you learn through, this AMC, movement, because a lot of us have learned shit. I know I have. I didn't know a damn thing about stocks before I started this shit. And, I still have a long way to go, but from where I started to where I am now, I mean, it's a night and day difference. So I'm just hoping that you guys understand that there's a good chance that you'll make some good money, more money than you probably made in a single deal or job or trade. And so understand that, you know, having that kind of money when you're not used to it, it goes fast. It's like Biggie says, the more problems you have, the more, or, you know, the more money we have, the more problems we see. So understand that that's going to be something that you're going to have to deal with. And it's important, guys. Like, we have, and this is why I'm saying, like, why it's important you guys exercise your right to vote too. We have such a unique opportunity, and being that we as retail traders own, you know, 75% or more of the company, we literally, we control our own fate. And going back to even talking on like how the vote is showing how many synthetic shares we have, they're looking at the vote count, compared to how many shares are out there, and they're saying, oh my God, there's huge overvoting, which is why they pushed this back. The more overvoting, the more that you guys go and cast your votes, because even if you have a synthetic share, you have a right to vote, especially if you live here in the United States. By going out and voting, it's just going to, that number after it's all said and done is going to demonstrate that, you know, there's just a shitload of synthetic shares, and they're not going to be able to run from that. It's really, really, I mean, the train of events that's happening, it's like the stars are aligning. Even with, that's why I said, even the video I made yesterday, it's like great thing that the actual shareholder meeting got pushed back. And then we're looking at these earnings that are coming out this week, and I expect them to be good. I'm hoping that's going to be the fuel or the match that really kind of lights this rocket off. And here's the thing, guys. Whether the earnings are bad or not, I expect it to be an increase from where we were at. But I also think, if, let's just say the worst thing in the world possibly happens and it was catastrophic and it was just terrible and we're like, holy shit, these earnings were garbage, I don't think it has any implications on what's happening with the squeeze or how the squeeze plays out. And that's the honest truth. Let's see here. I have anything else that I really want to go over. It was just a quick update. I wanted to give you guys information on the Fintel updates, which we did. We'll go ahead and check the BIOS one more time to see if there's any more 13F filings today, which there isn't. And again, I just remember too, the 801, you guys should celebrate that for sure. It's something to be happy about. Remember, it's contingent on the 002 getting passed though. Super important. You guys understand that. And make sure you guys get your votes in. I didn't really see too many. This is my first attempt at really doing a live stream. I didn't see a whole lot of interaction, but I assume this is going to be something that I'll have to be more consistent on. People don't really know who the hell I am. I'm really surprised on the traction that I've got on just the first couple of videos that I made. And I've gotten a lot of love in my DMs, so I appreciate all you guys on that. If there's anything else that I could show you guys on the Fintel side of things, let me know. If you guys want to talk about anything that's kind of looming in the market in terms of when it's relating to AMC, I want to keep it AMC related, let me know. I appreciate everybody that stopped by. I've got a couple of you came by, said hello. I don't know if you guys can see, but I love this so much I had to fucking put it up in the background. AMC to the moon. I want to see actually if this iBar desk lines up with Fintel. I'll be curious to see that. It's 250. Let's see here. Refresh this now. Yeah, so we're looking right on track with these, which is good because I know a lot of people don't really like Fintel's data, and sometimes I know it's like you got to take it with a grain of fucking salt. Let's see here. I mean, really, I mean, today was a good day considering they started the day with 2 million, you know, 2.3 million, and where we ended up at 250,000. They went heavy on us today, and it didn't really reflect in the price action, guys. We're looking here too. I know that you guys can see this. I'm going to put a link to this also if you guys want to keep track. This is another way. I check this daily. You guys could go here and basically when something actually gets approved, you'll see it right here, the approval. Basically, it'll go with the Federal Register's office and they'll link it here and it'll show the approval date. Which is, so this one right here, which is a little bit confusing though. I talked about this earlier, but remember this 801 is contingent on the 002 getting passed, right? So this 801, which is something that we definitely should be excited about and we should be pumped because it's a big deal. This is basically the beginning of the end for them once this goes into effect, but this doesn't go into effect until the 002 is approved, which they're saying the 7th it could get approved. But like I said, I've been watching this for a long time and I know that there's a lot of things that happen in terms of like if somebody has an objection, if there's a comment that comes in last minute, they usually generally look at that, and it sometimes can be a pain in our ass, and they'll go back and you could extend the process. Hey, Andrew, dude, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for stopping by, man. I'm definitely holding. I've got everything in this, like, and I know it's everything that I've learned about, that I've been learning on this grind about investing, is not really putting all your eggs in one basket, but I just can't, I literally can't control myself. I have so much faith in what I'm reading. So it's like, you know, and it's like a vicious cycle, because then you have tons of other apes that are like they're like-minded like us. So you just get tons and tons of confirmation bias over and over. But I mean, I can't argue with the numbers. That's the thing. So I feel like a lot of the things, it's not like, hey, we're just seeing it one way and, you know, we're kind of being blinded. I think a lot of the facts are right there, which in my mind is super, like, I mean, I can't deny it. It's like any bit of money that I make, I'm putting into this. And what I do for a living is I'm fortunate enough to where I can work from home on my day job, to where I pretty much can drown myself in this information. And I was thinking about putting together a video too, because my background's in digital advertising, and the stuff that I'm seeing with the bot movement, how the bots are kind of treating this situation, it's very, I don't want to say that we use a lot of bots in my daily work, but a lot of times we do a lot of some of the marketing stuff that we do. You know, we do what's known as social proof. We create social proof, and it uses a lot of the fundamentals that these guys are doing, but you can see how novice they are at it because they're just so terrible at it. I mean, typically when you have a good advertising firm that's doing these kind of things, right, you won't really notice it's really even happening. And it's so blatant. It's like they must have hired like a $5 firm off the street, or they're having their interns do it or some shit. And this is something else I talked about. You got to be careful too about even some people, they can hey, fishing with shredders, dude. I appreciate it, man. I really do. I'm new to this YouTube stuff, and to be honest with you, I'm like almost have like a mini panic attack before each video that I film, just because I get nervous and not really comfortable being on camera. But I think the more that I do this, the better that I'll get. But what I was saying is that, so a lot of people, what you could see is they'll even build a positive following. So you might have them come through and spend 3 or 4 weeks, like up to a month, and like actually getting an audience, like, so saying the things that you want to hear, you know, to the moon, to the moon, to the moon. And then they'll slowly, like a cancer almost, start injecting FUD, but they'll do it after they've built a level of trust with you. And remember, see, like, just to give you guys an idea, like, for how much they stand to lose, and this is why I'm surprised we haven't seen this. Hopefully I'm not giving them fucking ideas, but the amount that they stand to lose from this squeeze happening, right? The amount of money that they could spend in advertising, it's a drop in the hat. And they probably are. There's a lot of, they are definitely spending a lot of money on their bots. But it's like a pennies in the bucket to try and save them from the impending doom that they have. Yeah, and you know, that's the thing too, man. At this point too, that's why I was thinking about the live stream, like, hey, what am I even gonna talk about? That's why I just want to chat and kind of just get to know the people that are holding with me, because at the end of the day, I'm holding for you and you're holding for me. We all kind of are working together to make this thing happen. So yeah, I want to chat. There's just so much, the DD that's out there right now. Also, it's like, what more can we provide? We can do things like what I'm showing you here. Like, we can look at the rule filings, right? And we can see all that, but there's not much more. The data's already out there. We know what's happening. So I predict that it's, like I said, we're waiting on a time bomb, whether it's government intervention, these rulings. Like I said, I don't know. I posted on my Twitter the other day, there was a pretty good speech that, and I'll bring it up, actually. I've already read it. You guys have probably already seen this, but it was a good speech by one of the SEC commissioners. And basically what she's saying, this is one part I didn't want to highlight in the video, but I'll mention here. And you can use, just because I didn't want to spread FUD, you can make your own judgment of this, right? But she says, let's see where, let us instead carry out the necessary analysis to determine whether there's a problem in the market participants cannot resolve on their own. So I'm wondering if she's saying that, hey, like, let's have business happen as usual, which is not a good thing for us, right? We want the SEC to be on our side. Or she's saying, hey, we know all these rulings that are coming through from the DTCC, all these regulatory agencies, and it's going to be like sharks in the water, and we're going to let them just watch them eat you alive. And so I didn't want to put that in, highlight that in the actual tweet and like let people come to their own conclusion with that, because I didn't want to spread any fucking FUD. But again, I think that she means the latter. Like, hey, if they decide that they're looking at this and they're in too deep and this is just going to happen organically with just the rulings that are getting passed, then I could see that being plausible as well. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that. And like I said, the only reason why I left it out or I didn't highlight it in this tweet is because I was just afraid that it could give mixed messages, right? Let me refresh this and see if we got an updated short squeeze score here. No, it's still the same. Again, too, I also want to say, guys, if you're not part of the official AMC Discord, you guys need to join it. There's some fucking high-level DD in there, for real, for real. I'll pull it up right now so you guys can actually see it here. And where is it? Here we go. So right here, like this is something right off the bat. I didn't see this earlier. U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Chairman Gary Gensler sent his strongest signal yet that wild trading and GameStop Corp could lead to new rules for online brokerages and firms that dominate the business of executing stock orders. In his most substantive remarks since taking over the Wall Street regulator month. So this guy is basically the leader of the SEC, if you don't know, and he's known for being a real fuck to hedge funds. He's on our side. They're, like I said, this whole excuse me, this whole pay for order flow shit is crap, right? We don't because we don't pay a fee on a lot of these brokerages, we get the shit into the stick, and we have somebody that's literally looking at our orders and can basically manipulate the price without us even seeing it, right? They have all the numbers and every advantage in the tool. And like Lou from Wall Street, although I think he's really aggressive, has kind of got it right. We're dealing with the devil here. And so you have to assume that everything they have, it's like playing a rigged game, which makes our movement even more impressive to me, because we have everything that's stacked against us. And like I said, we've already kind of climbed over that hump when we're thinking about, again, not having much more DD, that the facts are already all out there. It's just a waiting game at this point. And I think that the majority of the apes have got their heels dug in. Even the guys that have like me, I don't want to get too much into my positions, but I've got a lot of shares and I've got a lot of options too. I've bet big on both sides. So listen, Andrew, I agree with you. And that's another thing. Like, I try not to think about what impacts this is going to have on the economy. I like to think that that's why these guys are getting ahead of it right now. And that's like what the DTCC is designed to do is what it does, right? They have all this money they've been, and especially with these new rulings getting passed, you know, they're increasing the liquidity deposits. So they're going to be getting $250,000 from each hedge fund. I'm assuming that if all this shit goes awry, the American people don't get left footing the bill because of some major collapse, and that these guys are doing what they're supposed to be doing and covering, you know, and fronting the bill. And I mean, that's what they're there for. You know, but at the end of the day, I know that a lot of the apes, like if some shit does go bad, I mean, we as apes, I'm sure our families are going to be secure because we stand to gain so much from this. But I just feel for the people that are going to, you know, get left on the outside in the rain. Trying to see if there's any other interesting stuff here that I could show to you guys. If you want to look at the Ortex data, this is the most updated one, it looks like. I'll hold this up there for a second. Bard shares today 3.55 million, dude. That is fucking crazy. Earlier it was at like 2.1, so they are running through them. Like I said, I think they're searching the bottom of the barrel though for their last little hurrah. I think especially if the earnings come out positive, which I think that they will, we could see some run-ups later. Well, not later this week. I think we'll see the majority of it next week, but it could be a trend reversal towards where we want to go, guys. And then it's just like I said, then at the point it's just like falling dominoes. You're just going to see regulation get passed, ruling after ruling after ruling, and we'll see them backed into a corner. I don't know what your guys' intent are for your money, but I said earlier, if you didn't come in, because I see a few more people join the chat, make sure that you guys, not even so much on exit strategies, I mean, because everybody's going to have a unique exit strategy for themselves, but make sure that you guys are not lottery ticket winners and walking away from this like some story that we see on the damn news where it's like, oh, somebody won, $100 million and, a year later they're broke. Usually people that don't have money management experience usually end up broke again. So you have time right now, especially this is where I'm spending a lot of my time, to be honest with you. I've always done well in my actual job, but I've never had money where it's been like millions and millions of dollars, right? And so I've been learning about how to manage my money because, again, I don't want to be like one of these stories where it's like I've hit it big and then lost it all. My goal is to make a big pile of cash from this and really start, number one, using the knowledge I've learned from this whole experience, because I have learned a lot, and start making my money work for me. Well, like I said, so I actually think that you're right, Fish, and I think that at the end of all this, there's going to be some changes that they can't deny. Not even so much on the regulation side of things, but I just think that you might see some of these media agencies, especially if this shit squeezes and it causes all these companies to topple over. I think that it's going to add a little bit more transparency and integrity to the way that these people are reporting. You know what I mean? Maybe getting paid off or having interest in the things will stop. Maybe they'll say, dude, we were so heavy in this and now we look like a bunch of assholes after all this, is done, said and over with. And it's funny because I was watching this thing on Kramer today. He's over here defending retail traders today. I'm like, oh, give me a break. You know what I mean? We'll see this tune change really quickly from all these guys. That's what I'm saying. But also, Andrew, so you're 100% right there. Borrowed shares seems to match the amount of individual, investors. But that's like the amount of investors that they're tracking is such a small percentage. Like even that 3 million that Adam Aaron tweeted about, that is so small in comparison to how many people actually own shares. Again, we're talking about tons of people that live overseas, right? They have a bunch of shares. And that's why I said, again, I can't stress it enough. I feel like a broken record, but you guys need to make sure that on this June 2nd vote that you guys are in there, casting your votes again, right? Because it's going to help. It doesn't matter at this point. It does matter, but, whether you're voting yes or no on these certain, proposals, I think that's the most irrelevant thing right now. I think that we just need to do it to establish a higher count. We want to be overvoted. The more people that come out that have these synthetic shares, the higher chance that we're going to have to find out, or a more accurate number of how much synthetic shares are actually out there. So make sure you guys mark your calendar. It's June 2nd is when you'll have the ability to actually vote on these things again, right? I'm so thoroughly impressed with the community at large, like with what we've got going. It's really impressive. And like I said, coming from an internet advertising background and stuff, and the amount of time that they've spent and money they spent on these bots, just to kind of, for the amount of effect that it's had on us. I mean, they're bleeding money on all ends. It's not just the actual squeeze that's happening, the short interest is not just that, they're bleeding money just to keep us down. Like I said, all these bots to run, this is a thing that people don't understand. So I would challenge anybody to go and create 10 Facebook accounts on one computer, one IP address, right? It would be very difficult. Or even Twitter, for instance. So these guys, in order to run the setups that they have with the bots and to have these unique accounts, I mean, there's a lot of investment that goes into it. You're paying for, proxy networks, you're paying for the actual, the bots themselves. It's a lot of time and hours, even if they have to pay for bots to manually create email accounts for each thing because they're doing it on such a large scale. All of that shit costs a lot of money. It's not cheap to do, so they're bleeding on every end. Here's what the sentiment, the order flow distribution was looking like today. Still much more buyers than there were sellers. And these, I would imagine the majority of them are actually all, shorts. They're not fucking people actually selling. Seeing if there's anything else that I'd like to show with you guys that we could talk about here. the reason there's low volume because there's nobody can get big blocks of shares. That's why. I mean, again, you could probably go and fill out small orders, but I know the people in different countries, and it's been verified by more than just Lou. I've seen it from several sources of people that actually live in other countries that big blocks are not getting filled. I appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out with me. I know I'm still new to this whole YouTube thing, and again, like I said, I was nervous. Like I even have like a mini panic attack each time before I get on stream, just because I'm confident in what I'm saying and what I know, but just like, again, it's just, I've never been much of a camera person, so you guys are making it cool. Let's see where we're at here in the after hours. By the way, if any of you guys use Thinkorswim, I've spent a lot of time building out this the way that I like it. I can send these, it looks like they have a function where you can send out basically your charts, right? So you can, all the studies that you have, you can send. So I've been sending this to a couple different people that I know that use it, that couldn't figure out how to get the RSI on there and shit. Sitting at 9:15 right now in the after hours, it looks like. Trading below the VWAP all day, and it looks like we had this area where we really couldn't break. We dipped around, but it didn't, that more or less seemed to be false. Came back in. We're really hanging around in this range, and it's good to be comfortable. It's good to have a set place. Again, I just think that as long as we're not fucking skydiving down, even if we were, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But you guys have to understand how much pressure is here for us to go down, and the fact that we're just really not comfortable really being below, you know, $9.15 should make you guys fucking wet in the panties. We just, they sell and they sell and they sell, and every time we hit these points, we just buy and we buy and we buy. I don't know if I should actually upload these videos or I should just keep them just for like the live thing, because I feel like I can ramble sometimes in them where I just kind of start talking about a bunch of different shit. I don't know if people are interested, like about the advertising talk and stuff. I don't know if people will be like, why isn't he talking about AMC? I assume you guys could hear me good and everything, right? And I'm looking good. It looks like everything, oh shit, I don't know what I just did. It looks like everything looks good on my OBS. If you guys can see my background, how cool is it that somebody spent the time to do that? And I was actually impressed. It's only $1,500 to do that. Shit, I might do one in Las Vegas where I grew up, have one go over the stratosphere or something like that. We could take a look at the AMC stock Reddit and see if there's anything new. I haven't actually checked it too much today. Oh, look at this, guys. Another one over Chicago. Yeah, today was the 7th. I mean, I actually, to be honest with you, Fish, and I kind of felt your sentiment yesterday. I thought we were going to be seeing green today. Like I said, the earnings, I think, is really what's going to put us in the right direction. I think they're running out of shares, and we're seeing, like, even right now, We looked, there was 250,000 shares left to borrow going into tomorrow. We don't know what's going to be used up tonight in the aftermarket, all that bullshit. Probably not that many. We'll probably start tomorrow with 250,000 unless they reload. But there's just not that much left. And I think that, like, again, this is why it's all circling back with the SEC meetings, the shareholder meeting getting pushed back. I think all of that ties together. Waiting for all of it, kind of the stars to align. But I expect that we're seeing green sooner than later. Yeah, well, they're gonna go broke. They're gonna look at this and say, "Wow, we can't not go broke from this." And I think either they're going bankrupt and they know it and they're just riding it all the way down, which is probably the case, right? They're at this point, if you have nothing to lose, right? If you're a company that's going bankrupt, or you know you're gonna go bankrupt, what you're gonna ride it out. You're gonna throw everything you can at it because at the end of the day, you're going down anyways. So the only thing they stand to gain is if we sell off and they actually succeed in scaring us. And like I said, it's a very, very expensive lesson for them to learn that we're a bunch of cranny eaters. We're not going anywhere. This dude, Joshua James, I mean, very, very smart. This dude's always coming with heavy hitters. This is what he's saying is actually very true. I've actually discussed this in a video before. The United States stocks market foundation integrity is on the line. So it's not just what we're seeing right now, but the world is looking at us. And it doesn't even have to be so much from an AMC play, but people are not going to feel comfortable, other countries, investing money in the United States markets if they feel like it's not a fair playing field. You know, whatever happened to free markets? And that's something that I think that this is why they have to do it. It's not a question of if, and like I said, the SEC's kind of backed into a corner too. They have to take action here, which is why I think that you're seeing all these things getting pushed and why they're fast tracking meetings, having closed door meetings, because they are in a position where they have to do something. Can we stop posting memes and selfies now? They're important regulations and DDs. I understand what this dude's feeling, but like I said, I understand too. Sometimes there's such thing as like analysis paralysis, right? And it's like there's only so much information we can consume, and then it becomes a waiting game, right? And like I said, the more that we highlight the rules, I think that's great. I think we have people understand what they are, but putting the dates on them is very sketchy when it comes to all this shit, just because of how like it's so bureaucratic, like all this shit. It's like you have to have a meeting to have a meeting to have a meeting. And so setting the dates and the timelines on things, it adds a lot of expectations and like pressure that we don't need. Like if people are just concerned with buying and holding, I think that's where the people's heads should be. And obviously everything else is going to take care of it itself. Realistically, I mean, $1 million, what do you guys think? Do you guys have set price targets in mind that you realistically think? Or are you somebody that believes that, hey, $1 million is really, you know, the thing that scares me the most is you'll have people sell off regardless, just because everybody's life situation is different. I'll never knock anybody for what their situation might be and the money they might need. But I'm just thinking, do you guys think that the majority of us are really riding this up to the numbers that we're talking about? Or do you guys feel like that it's not something that we'll be able to sustain because of people that might shorthand it, you know, cash out, I guess, for lack of better terms? Be interested to hear your thoughts. I really believe that the sentiment is so strong that the majority of people will hold till we see pretty significant numbers. Let's see here. Hey guys, I appreciate the new guys that just joined in. I've seen some more people just join in. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you guys coming. We're just kind of just going over some new stuff that went on in AMC today. Any new DT. But you know, we're just kind of bullshitting and chatting. So if you guys want to hop in the conversation, if there's anything that you want to ask, we can take a look at. We went over the institutional buyers today. Well, today wasn't as big, but what I will show you is if you guys want to look at just like the past, let's look back from the 30th up, because there's some big shit here. Creative planning, I made a tweet on this. If you look, they had a 600, you can't see, let me scroll up a little bit more. They had a 660% increase on their position. So they originally had 32,000 shares, and after they filed their 13F, it was 245,000 shares. Pretty crazy. $2.5 million in shares. So this is one thing that I was also explaining to people. There's a lot of people who post on like their Twitter or Reddit that these are the institutional buyers, but a 13F is basically just securing a position. It doesn't mean it was that person purchased it that day, and that's something that I was even confused on up to a couple months ago. But I actually found out that, so if you look here, so like let's say if I go to creative planning here and I pull this out, you'll be able to see that their file date was the 30th, but the effective date is, from my understanding, is when they actually purchased it. So this purchase was actually done March 31st, but they didn't file it. We didn't see that buy, that number that like was secured until April 30th. Shannon, that's awesome. You know what's crazy about this too, that I'm so surprised? Like I went to eat lunch. I went to meet up with my dad, and he's kind of got like what I would call like good old boys crew. They're from a farming community, and they all are like what you would consider not like, you know, overalls, but they all have like a plaid shirt on, have like their pins, you know, tucked in shirt, those type of guys. And it's funny because they're super old school. You wouldn't, if I asked them to, you know, log into their email like on, you know, Google Chrome, it would probably take them an hour. And I'm sitting there eating my lunch, and these dudes are talking about AMC, and I'm like, holy crap. I mean, this is just so much bigger than even I think that we realize. Yeah, Shannon, if there, and you know what, like I said, the amount, I think, is this is why I think they pushed back the shareholder meeting, because they already seen, they got to the point where they had looked and like, okay, well, we're still counting votes and we're over like what our, and I think they're keeping this hush hush, but they're like, we're getting more votes than the shares that we have out, and they're like, we need to stop. Actually, it's not that they need us, it's actually becomes null and void at that point. That's the thing, though. So there's so many investors. I think it also comes down to how much the average amount, Andrew, that each investor has. Like Shannon here is saying that between all of him and his buddies, they have, let's see here, you know, over 100,000 shares. Or is that 10,000? I'm blind. But still, and there's a lot of groups that are like this. And also, I've had people buy in, like my pops bought in, and he came in pretty heavy and it's because he had faith in me, right? And like what I believe is happening. And there's a lot of people like that, you know, that are getting their whole entire families bought in. And you'll drink the Kool-Aid. I mean, it's not, I shouldn't say that's the wrong term when I say drink the Kool-Aid, but ultimately, like, once you come in and if you're spending any sort of time doing real legitimate research on this, it's like undeniable that this is going to happen. I got in around, I think my first entry was like at $14, and I pretty much have been going heavy on it ever since, to be honest with you. It wasn't in AMC. I went through the whole, I started with GameStop like a lot of people, and then I'm like, was looking at this, and I just, you know, and I am a video gamer. I love games of heart, so I shared a passion about that. But then I just looked at AMC, and I just got a different vibe from it. I just thought it was a lower barrier for entry. I thought that the gains are bigger. I thought that more people go see movies than they do play video games, even though video games is a crazy emerging market. There's just something nostalgic about the movies, so it's kind of why I went in. And I went through with very little experience. I started with options, which is fucking crazy, but I actually got really lucky with a few. I hit on Teradata. and some pure gambles that I really didn't even know what I was doing. I was like, oh, this company, you know, I was looking at them. It looks like they've got good information. And I'm seeing they've got, you know, this possibly coming out. And I place these calls, and next, you know, I woke up one morning. I'm like, holy shit, I had like $2,800 extra off of a call that was like $100 for me. And then I was like, okay, now I'm going to start learning about this. And then I started, it kind of drove me more to AMC, which I started buying calls there. And then I was like, realizing that's really not the route to go. That's a much more risky play. So I still have a lot of those, but then I started getting more shares, buying shares, buying shares. Shannon, you're a lot like me. So when my dad calls me up, he's like, hey, like, how's everything doing? Like, or, hey, I need to deposit money, or, hey, I need to do this. It's like, he don't know a damn thing. And he'll just call me up and he'll be like, hey, how's the stock doing today? And it's so funny because I almost like, because especially on the sideway trading days, I'll be like, well, listen, you know, you don't understand. Like, here's what's happening. And, oh, we're getting a short ladder attack today. And he's like, oh, yeah. Oh, like, he doesn't really ask questions. Doesn't give me shit. But it's just funny because I'll be, you know, it's just interesting because it's like, you know, and I know what's going on, but it's like from the outside person, especially if you were talking to somebody that's pessimistic, it's like, I don't even bother. That's what I say. I'm not trying to sell you. If you want in, here's the information. Here's where you can get it. If not, like, I don't need to argue my position to you. Andrew, 100% agree. I actually think it's a fair value could even be more than, you know, I think the bounce back is going to be really big. And I think that, like, I'm sure you guys have all felt this. You guys ever been like going through like Netflix or some stupid shit, Hulu, whatever it is, service you buy, and you're like, oh man, every movie I've seen on here is like, it doesn't look that good, or I've already seen this shit. It's like, I think people are getting really burnt out of that experience too. You know what I mean? It's just like, you're just sitting there and it's like, by the time that, like, especially if I'm looking before I go to bed, by the time I find a movie, I'm like, I'll put it on and I'm already fell asleep. I just think that people are going to want to start getting outside a little bit more, getting out and involved in the world again. And especially the way, and where I grew up in Vegas, I mean, the movie theater experience was awesome from a perspective of now you can go in, they have like, you know, chairs that are massaging you. You could get a full like dinner, having bars. AMC's even doing this. You can go have a couple cocktails. Like, let's say you're on a date with your girlfriend or boyfriend. You can go have a couple cocktails before you guys go. Like, there's nothing more like simple and like and basic but fun, and everybody can relate to and everybody can have a good time. I've never met anybody who's like, oh, I don't want to go to a movie, or I don't like going to the movies. So I agree with that, man. I think that the sentiment is the same. I think that after the squeeze happens, this is something that I would keep just because, like, I plan on keeping some shares of AMC. And I like a lot of people, you know, they're going and they said, hey, like wanting to get physical copies of the shares. I like am going to be happy to be a part of this. I really am. And I know a lot of the people are here too. They're going to keep shares in after it's said and done as well. But going back to some of these purchases, so look at Vanguard. This wasn't that big. It looks like they only increased their position by like 6,000 here, but look at what their previous holdings are. Already got a bunch of shares. It's good to have people in on this. And then I brought this up in one of my other videos. Let me see if I can find this. Manufacturers Life Insurance Company, right? They had 49,000 shares was their original. It was like their original buy. They added, which looks like almost 150,000 shares to their position, right? Well, a life insurance company, like, what does a life insurance company do? Like, they manage risk, right? They're there to basically build a safe nest for your family should, you know, something were arrive. So their funds, I would imagine, adhere to the same core values. So if AMC, like these analysts are saying, is so destined to go downhill, why are companies like, you know, life insurance funds investing in it? I mean, Shannon, that's something, I mean, I couldn't believe it. To me, like I said, it's almost hard for me to fathom, which is why, like, sometimes I have to like drown myself in the data, just because it's like, I don't want to think about that. I just want to think about also what caused this and how in the future I'll be able to identify that. There's something that really intrigued me about coming into this is like, even Aurora and Kitty, I think is the gentleman's name that found out about GameStop. Is like, man, what level was that guy on to be looking through this? And that's where I've been trying to get better. Obviously, I'm nowhere. That guy's got years and years of experience, but how can I take this knowledge, or how can I learn through this experience to be able to identify things like this in the future to be able to make my money work for me? You know, and I've built my strategy and what I think is right. I'm not greedy. Like I said, I have, you know, I'm planning on kind of like tearing up as it goes. And, you know, if there's opportunities to re-enter to make money and then come back in off of the dips and play it from that sort of angle, I don't know, it might be a riskier play. I haven't really decided 100% on how I want to do that. I know that I'm going to be securing some profits though, before I have a chance to lose them. You know, and then where I go after this, I don't know. You know, part of me is a little bit scared of the stock market because I've just seen how manipulated this is, and it doesn't seem like it's wise to go and play a rigged game. But then, you know, I've also really enjoyed doing it, and I like it on the sense a little bit more than crypto because I like learning about the companies too, right? Like there's something to be said about that. Like crypto, I mean, you can learn about those companies too, but it has to deal with all kind of in the same realm of shit. You know, if I wanted to go learn about something that I'm passionate about, it seems like I can find that a little bit more easily in the stock market. No, Andrew, I haven't seen that. I'll go ahead and make a note of that to do that. I'll do that tonight. Let's see here. So that's interesting. Why are they doing that? I wonder if there could be some sort of I wonder what the reasoning behind that is. You know, their production studio is growing and growing and growing. It would serve AMC well if they did a lot more of their movies, right? In like theater format when Netflix does that, because it seems like they were the only one turning and burning movies out during the whole basically the whole lull of when we were kind of at our worst with COVID. I expect us to be kind of opening up soon, which is why I think that if we see even a slightly positive earnings report, it's why our trajectory should go fucking way up, because it should go up way more when everything's kind of at full capacity. um I'm thinking about grabbing another beer, guys. I hope that I'm not going to be gone long. I'll be gone maybe like 2 minutes. I have to walk outside to the outside fridge. I'm going to grab a beer and I'm going to put a lemon in it, cut a lemon and put a lemon in it. If you guys are still here, I hope that you are. We'll continue the conversation. If not, thanks for stopping by. It should be no longer than 2 minutes. Be right back. What's up, guys? No Coors Light today. I got Pacifica. Kind of was feeling the vibe. What's up, guys? Oh, what the fuck was that? So, what is... Let's see here. What's your beer of choice? Shandon, what do you like? Okay, let's take a look here. If you guys want to finish up some of these institutional buyers I was showing you guys. Cohen and Company, 191,000. Literally had zero in their position before. Really good stuff. Kentucky Bourbon Ale. I've never had that. Kentucky Bourbon Ale. I do like bourbon from time to time, though, dude. Really do. Let's see here if I can find anything else that's new that I haven't seen today. They did do a GoFundMe for AMC to the Moon. I don't know if they're doing another one in New York, but this is how I found out the price for it. Same locations where they wanted it. So $1,500. It looks like they'll be doing, I don't know when the date is when they're going to be doing this though. But it's cool to see that collectively that we were able to get that done, and they got it done in less than 2 hours. Oh yeah, this was on Bloomberg today. Gensler SEC reviewing disclosure rules for swaps and short sells. So again, this motherfucker that the hedge funds hate, that is the head of the SEC. He's already going after them. He said, you know, these swaps, these shorts, the synthetic bullshit, it's coming to an end. So what do you guys think? I mean, should I don't mind doing this. I know there's a lot that the space is already crowded in terms of like doing YouTube videos and stuff. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't have any goals of like becoming like I don't want to become some like famous YouTuber. I have no intention to really make money off of this or anything like that. But what I do enjoy is the breakup of my actual day-to-day job and actually getting to talk to people and stuff. So if there's people that enjoy being here, I would like, would make me inclined to do it more often, because that's really why I'm here, is just to chat and get to know the people that are riding and dying for me the same way that I am for them. They're serious about not posting memes. So there's this, where I grew up, it was called a red hydrant ale. It wasn't like dark like black, but it was like red. And when I say red, I don't mean like the color like red, but like amber, like a deep red. And it used to play at this, there was this kind of like a brewery in Las Vegas. They had like the brewery inside the restaurant. It was called Red Hydrant Ale, and they would pair it with like this pot roast dish, and oh my Lord, like almost makes me want to fucking drool right now. I mean, this, and because I don't drink a whole lot of dark beers, but this beer was, I had one before, like that was actually, I think, the first beer that I had like craft beer. I think it was on my 21st birthday. I remember I had like a big mug of it, and just one mug of it. And I wasn't new to drinking, but it got me pretty fucking buzzed. Where'd you get it? Did you make it yourself, or did you find it somewhere? I want to take a hit, but I don't know if you're allowed to do that on YouTube. I don't want to get banned. Also, they're gonna be like, "Who the hell? I'm listening to this dude talk about stocks is burning reefer." See, this is where I can see, like, because this is a lot. Sometimes you're trying to go through and you're just trying to get some information. If you guys want to hear a story too, one of the reasons why I got in also, so I had a buddy that's, let's just say, is not the sharpest tool in the shed. He is in my industry in terms of like he's in the internet advertising space, and he came in and we were kind of all, and I'll be honest guys, I was kind of dogging on him. He came into our Discord one time and we were all just like, I think playing games or some shit. And he's like, "Yo, I'm in on Wall Street bets. I've took $900. I bought 3 option in GameStop, and I think on Monday it's going to take off." And we're like, "Sure it is, fucking yeah. He got 3 calls. I don't remember the strike price exactly, but he bought 3 calls, and they were $900, I think, for the 3 contracts. That Monday, it was $900. I'm sorry, for those 3 contracts. Yeah, that Monday he woke up is worth like $98,000, and I'm like, holy shit! Like, I need to learn about this. Like, what's going on? Like, how are you doing that? Like, what the fuck happened? And that's literally when everything started roaring. But that's when I'm like, okay, I'm hooked, because if I'm seeing that these guys, there's an opportunity to, number one, fuck people that are fucking like my family and friends, like they're fucking your family and friends, fucking the markets up and shit like that. That's reason number 1. Reason number 2, if I can fuck them and make a shit ton of money doing it, I definitely want to do that. What games am I into? I mean, I play probably a game that I don't even know if you guys are like, what the fuck? But I like Dota 2. That's like a good group game that I play with a lot of my friends that I work with. We do a lot of Dota 2. Obviously, some of the first-person shooter shit, we do that. And I used to play Madden, believe it or not, competitively. And I didn't do it so much this year, but the past couple years, I've actually made money in playing Madden. And then really just like whatever the flavor of the month is, we'll hop on. I was talking to Andrew about the games for, what are you referring to? Yeah, dude, I definitely will, Andrew. I appreciate it, brother. Yeah, I'm looking to see, like, a lot of this stuff, like I said, we kind of already know all this. A lot of this is information that we've already kind of went over. Oh, well, I should, yeah, maybe I avoided this. I do play World of Warcraft, actually, now, even, but it's pretty much ending this whole classic run, but I have a pretty geared rogue. I don't know why I didn't say World of Warcraft, but I did play that, or I even do actively now to this day. But it's coming into the new expansion. But yeah, I do like Dota just because it provokes thought. Oh, this beer's good. Ugh. So what are we seeing here? Every synthetic share was created to be bought back and destroyed eventually, which we know. It's basically a money printer if you get it right, and they get it all right all the time. He's talking about the hedge funds here. This time, however, they got it wrong because some bunch of smart, smooth brain apes like us came in and kind of ruined the party like some fucking wedding crashers. Shannon, you know why I wonder if they have like that's the last publicly owned data they have on you or something, or maybe the data pool they pull from is an old, outdated data source, like because they're probably using public information, probably cross-reference it from the owner of the share to like maybe the address that they were last listed at. That's the only thing I can think of, or phone number that was last associated with that address, maybe. Shannon, make sure too, you probably already have, but make sure that you cast your vote again on the second time around on June 2nd. I don't know if you heard what we were talking about earlier, but it's just going to help them identify the actual synthetic share amount. Wow, to invest at $1 and to see it go all the way to 10, holy crap. I mean, you got lucky on your first one. I think that's what I did too on my first option. I think there's a little bit of beginner's luck, and then kind of you're like hooked. So even going back, every one of those 100 million plus shares they've sold that they don't own, they have to buy from me and you. We already know all this. We own all the shares in existence plus the counterfeit ones they made. That's what I'm saying. So after a certain point, like, let's just say, like, imagine what because there's such a big synthetic amount. I mean, it's literally going to cripple them, because they're just, by the time they get done with buying back all the synthetics, they're still going to have to buy back all the real ones. It's literally so bad for them. Do they not have them? I could have swear the last time I went to an AMC, they actually had Tesla chargers there. Is there anything that you guys are unsure of, too, by the way, that I could help you guys go by diving in? Like I said, I work from home. I have all the free time in the world. Is there anything that you guys need real, like, information on that you really haven't been able to get? Because I might be able to spend some time and figure it out for you guys. I've been going through the majority of my nights. I've been grinding out, looking through these rulings, trying to find reasons they could fuck us, because I'm a little bit of a pessimist myself. So I'm just trying to be aware of some shit that they could do to blindside us. Well, Shannon, I don't. They might even put new proposals on it. Number one, so that could be something to think about, right? Like, what if they add something new? That would be concerning to me. Like, that is concerning me. That's not one of the reasons. But again, because every person with a even if you own a real share or a fake synthetic share, you have the right to vote. So let's just say everybody that has a fake share goes in and votes. Because there's so many fake shares, even though you're entitled to vote, they know the total float is 450 million, but because there's so many fake shares, the vote count they might get back is, could be, fucking hundreds of millions, for instance, right? Like, that's an extreme example, but it's just not like 100 millions over that 450 million. So if they have 450 million total float and they get 600 million votes, they know that there's 150 million there's 150 million shares that are synthetic, that are fake. So it helps them get those, and then at that point the vote becomes null and void. But again, it just puts all the attention for the world to see, like as clear as day, that there's shorting going on. And this again goes hand in hand with the government stepping in, and I think it makes it very difficult. And this is why I think another reason why the shareholder meeting could have got pushed back, because it's just closed door meeting. Whatever comes from that, it might be hard for the SEC to turn a blind eye to that, right? If that makes sense, like, because it's going to be there in plain sight, and especially if they have any sort of new rulings that come out of these closed door meetings, they might be forced to act. So I'm gonna post this up. I'll put this up again. I don't know if you were here when I linked this, Shandon, but there is, Matt Kors did happen to do a little bit of now I don't know where he pulled these numbers from, so take this with a grain of salt. Generally he's very reliable, so I haven't known for him to steer me wrong. But let's see here, where it is, right up here somewhere. Where the hell did it go? I know Matt Kors did post something. Well, somebody else did a follow-up on it, so we'll just use that, I guess. See if I can zoom this up. So estimated share held and percentage of float based on median of shares held range. So share held range, 1 to 50, medium shares held 50. Percent of the shareholders 17, number of shareholders 510,000, number of shares held 25.5 million. Holy shit. Okay, what they're saying is just in this, so they're saying the median, that the average of those 510 shareholders is 50, which equates to 200 or 25.5 million shares. Thousand plus, they're saying 31% of the people owns 1,000 plus. I don't know. That seems like it could be crazy to me, but maybe not. Maybe I'm just being naive, right? But if just looking at these numbers, right? So let's just say that they're close to right. Okay. We're looking at 2 billion shares, right? Just based off of these numbers right here. And this is what they're saying. So this is based off of the median, so the middle range. If they're giving less, if they're having a lower expectation, they're saying 1.6 billion. And then the high estimate, 2.5 billion. So that's pretty, I mean, if these numbers are even close to right, that's, I mean, we're going to Tendy Town, right? I might actually even repost this on my Twitter, because this is good information right here. I want to give this gentleman credit, though, if I do. His name's Keith. I'm going to save this image. We'll post it on Twitter. Posting this right now. So let's do this. Whenever I find good information, I really... Why didn't the picture go? What the hell? Why doesn't that work? Sorry guys, I didn't mean to like go blank. I don't understand why. Try this again. It's like the file format is fucking weird. Nope. I'll have to do it this way. So I have a little program that I could use to take a screenshot, and we'll do it like that. We could check on the lease owners too on their earnings call and see if they got posted as well. Shorting is super risky, and you know, like I said, I think to be honest with you, and people may not like this, I think shorting is a healthy part of the market. You have shorts and you have longs, right? And I think it's just all goes hand in hand. But I think we can all agree that the shorting that's going on here is not really. This is not the real typical type of shorting that we're used to. Boom. So, but that, and then so hopefully, I wish I could tag the guy on Twitter, but I don't know his Twitter handle. And shorting is a very, very risky game. I agree. Jeez, I already drank this fucking beer. We can check back on the pre-market here. I mean, post-market, I'm sorry. Really about pretty much where the day ended. I mean, we just don't want to break out of this channel right here. We dipped a little bit under, but it just wasn't long. This pretty much the same thing here. It's like we tested it a couple times, and we just don't like being under this 915 fucking range at all. It seems like we just constantly bounce back from it. Once we leave from this channel right here, I expect some smooth selling. To be honest, we've tested it. Look how many times we tested it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, close. Like almost 5 times we tested today and just couldn't get through it. Get rid of all this. Let me refresh and see where we're at here on iBar Desk. Still at that 250, 11.1. But see, we were at 10. See, it's the more that we kind of chew through these numbers, the less ammo they have. Way I'm gonna do. I'll link this for you guys real quick here. This is the best way, I think. So if you guys are curious, that right there is pretty much from there. That's the little portal. From that portal that I just linked in the chat, you guys can get to pretty much the DTC, the OCC, FICC, and SEC right here, and you can go from here, boom. And then you go right to their filings. I check these every day. I do. And it lets you know when things are passed. So a lot of these are the agencies that are going to be basically regulating what the fuck's going on here. So you guys can bookmark that should you want to go and let's do this. If you guys want to check out what's going on earnings. It doesn't look like it's updated, so I'll link this as well for you guys. This is the lease holders for AMC. You can check their earnings as well. We want to see them do well. If they do good, that'll be pretty good. That'll be a good sign for AMC as well. So again, these are the people that own the leases where AMC has all their properties. We want their earnings per share. We want their earnings to be good as well. It'll be sentiment towards how we're looking, right? See if there's anything. Oh, this is brand new. Oh, guys. Todd Barker, the head surveyor capital at Citadel, is retiring after 16 years at the hedge fund firm, will be replaced by his deputy Philip Lee. Mr. Barker, 42, joined the $38 billion firm in 2004 as an analyst and as a lead surveyor, one of Citadel's three stock picking units for the last 5 years. So he was a moneymaker for them. He will continue as a special advisor to the firm, said Candace Griffin, Citadel's founder, CEO, and co-chief investment officer on Wednesday. His unit has more than 175 investment professionals globally and has ramped up its international hiring. Citadel also named Sean Salgi for a new role. I'm going to look him up. Let me add him in my notes because I want to take a look at these guys and what their past has been as well. I'm trying to see. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this guy's. I gotta get the fuck out of here. I gotta get the fuck out of here. Head of Surveyor Capital, retiring after 16 years. Retiring. Let's see if we can find. Joined in 2004 is the same thing. Then appointed head of global equity primary strategies in 2005, portfolio manager in 2009, and regional co-head of global equities, financial analyst for the banking investment firm equity capital markets division of Goldman Sachs. Interesting. I wonder if they just all topple down. Philip Lee as well. Pretty much the same information here, but this is great news. I mean, I shouldn't say it's great news. I mean, like, I feel bad if somebody had to step down because of that shit, but they made their bed. They got to sleep in it, you know? Oops. Oh, shit. Was that you, dude? Shannon, dude. That is fucking sick. Super, super sick. You live in Texas? Fishy, could you imagine we just have a bunch of fucking kids air party, those jumpers on the outside of the building? No easy escapes here, dude. You're not doing that shit on our watch. You gotta fucking face the music. For real, for real. I'm with that. Super cool. That is dope, dope, dope. Give that a likey like. Maybe we'll do a little bit of... I might put together a video on this guy, what his background is, and see if we can't find any information on Citadel that would be connecting him to that. We'll see. At this point, though, remember, guys, I wanted to tell you again, the rulings, all that shit's going to be happening. No problem. I promise it's happening. But we need to make sure that regardless of what happens up into that point, remember, if you June 2nd, get your votes in. Try not to get too crazy and looking at the price action, all that good stuff. I'm actually, this is my last beer, so I think I'm going to head to the store and grab another, I think a 12-pack, and then I'll probably be back in about 3:50. I don't know. You guys probably got lives to live, but I might be live streaming again later tonight. After I'm going to grab a couple more beers. I might grab some food. And I'll be back. I really do. I can't tell you guys enough how much I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate the subs, the follows. Hopefully that you gained something outside of just us talking, right? You gained a little bit of information from watching. And I hope that you guys will continue to be here when I stream again. Andrew, Fishin, Shannon, you guys were all here really rocking it out with me. I appreciate it so much. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Hopefully later tonight.